The next load balancing method that we will set up is based on ratios. Now this is something that I talked about before, but very quickly, this is a method where we can assign a type of weight or ratio value to a server in the pool. Now, higher the ratio value assigned to a server, the more often it will receive client requests. The server with the lowest ratio value will get fewer client requests. So this method can be used if you have some servers in your pool that have more powerful resources compared to other servers. You can assign higher ratio values to your more powerful servers and assign smaller ratios for your least powerful servers. To set up ratio-based load balancing, there are two types which we talked about before. There's load balancing based on the member and the other is based on the node. Now they operate the same, but it is how you assign the ratio value that matters the most. So let's select ratio member load balancing and let's update our changes. Okay, so here's what we're going to do in this particular video. So among our 4 web servers, we will set the highest ratio value to web server 1 to be 4. We will set the ratio value for web server 2 to be 2. Basically half of the value that we will set for web server 1. And we will use the default ratio values, which is 1, for web server 3 and web server 4. So doing this configuration, most of the connections, or half of all total connections, will go to web server 1 because it has the highest value assigned. Web server 2 will receive the next highest number of connections, and web server 3 and 4 should have around the same number of connections load balanced between them. Next, we need to assign the appropriate ratio or weight values to our servers based on the distribution that we're looking for. Now, since we're load balancing based on the ratio member, the pool member, we will set up the ratio values on this page for each server. So here you will see a default ratio value assigned to each server, which is a ratio value of 1. Now, this information is what the ratio member load balancing method will use. So to set the ratio value, let's click on web server 1. Let's start there. And here under configuration, ratio, we will set the ratio value to be 4. Let's update our changes here. Let's go back to our members page. Let's go to web server 2. And let's set the value to 2 for the ratio. Update our changes. Let's go back to our members. And we will leave the default ratio values for web server 3 and web server 4 to be 1, the defaults. So on this page, you will see the ratio values assigned for each of the servers. Now let's test this out. Let's bring back my Mac system. Here we are. And let's run 100 new sessions to our pool of servers. Okay, that completed. Let's move this aside. Now let's go back to our pool statistics page. Okay, and there we see our total number of connections, which is 100. So among the 100 connections, you see that web server 1 has received the most number of client requests, which is 49, which makes sense because it was configured with the higher ratio. Next, we see web server 2 with the next highest number of connections, which is 25. And the other 2 web servers have the same number of requests since they have the same ratio values assigned. But also understand that using ratio-based load balancing, whether it is for a node or a member, this is still considered as a static load balancing method. This means that the pool would not look at the performance or the connection load for each server before making its load balancing decision. It operates very similar to round robin.